Dinosaur always seem bigger than real life. They live in a time when almost anything seem bigger. For example, a giant herbivore, which is over 24 meters long, is not a strange thing. At that time, carnivore weighing 90 had to eat hundreds of pounds meat every day to survive. Popular view of the times. These dinosaurs ignored species, countless small, who lived together, Stegosaurus and Triceratops, just like humans, surrounded by bird bugs, rodents, and other small animals. Currently, this view also mistakenly frames the end of this era as the end of the glory days. Gigantism. Life does not shrink after its end. Chalk Age. Long after the time of the dinosaurs, the Earth witnessed the evolution of birds, crocodile, snake, rhinos, and many more impressive, including the biggest animals of all time. After the dinosaurs became extinct, there's giant animals, which emphasizes the fact that the incredible size of the body, not just the dinosaurs. With the extinction of non-avian dinosaurs, multiple lineages of mammals evolved into a large body size, quickly, of which is an extinct group of mammals, which is called Panodon. Riley Black in Smithsonian Magazine. Among the most famous is Barrelanda. These herbivorous animals live in western North America. About 50 million and 60 million years ago, Barrelandas don't look like mammals, who lives in the moment. This animal probably looks most like a giant sloth that will evolve tens of millions of years later. Barrelamite is far from the largest mammal ever, yet a 2.4 meters long creature, and that 453 kilogram is a mammal, largest in evolutionary primeval forest ecosystems. This herbivore helped paleontologists mark when mammals began to develop into a larger body size, as well as when they started creating new oranges. One of the largest carnivores exploring the Australia Ice Age, not a mammal, but rather a reptile, with a length of more than 5.5 meters, or more than twice the length of a dragonfly. Megalania is an impressive lizard. Paleontologists aren't sure how big is Megalania, because very few bone monitors lizard found. Estimates range from 4.5 to 7.9 meters. Even the lowest estimate, it is much greater than any lizard alive right now. And based on the lizard's teeth, Megalanians are fearsome predators. Megalania, not only does it have sharp, curved teeth, like Komodo, based on evolutionary relationships, paleontologists hypothesize that it has a venomous bite, which prevents its prey from healing its wounds. The bite makes its victims go weak due to blood loss and infection. Before the final attack, crocodiles evolved into very large hunters and awesome. During the Chalk era, 12 meters high ambush predator, like Sarcosuchus dandinococcus, prey on dinosaurs. Long after that, about 13 million years before the present, relatives of the great caiman, Purosaurus, preyed on turtles in ancient South America. But not all large crocodiles are ambush predators that lurk at the water's edge. About 15 million to 55 million years ago, Argentine landscape, Peru and Venezuela, was overrun by land crocodiles. These land crocodiles are larger than mammals, the biggest meat eater of its time. The animal is called Marinosuchus arvello, first described in 2007. Barrenosuchus belong to the crocodile group, which evolved in the Cretaceous age, and yet they're actually breeding after the non-avian dinosaurs became extinct. These reptiles, called sebecids, chasing its prey on land. They chew prey with flat teeth like blades that look more like the teeth of a carnivorous dinosaur than any other crocodile. Barrenosuchus, not the biggest crocodile of all time, but they're thought to have reached maximum size. more than 6 meters in length, while the weight, more than 1,360 kilograms. Size and weight is equivalent to a saltwater crocodile. Now add black fossil Baronosuchus was found in rocks that stretched in a wide area and tens of millions of years. That crocodile must have been a carnivore, an extraordinary, largest mammal that ever lived on Earth. Was never as big as the biggest dinosaur. But hard to see skeleton perisaurium back teenser. Without feeling impressed, this big rhinoceros be a contender for the title of largest land mammal. All the time, this huge herbivore exploring eastern Eurasia between 23 million and 34 million years ago. Rhinos of different shapes and sizes used to be much more common on Earth. And the perisaurium, like a rhino imitating a giraffe, the rhino's neck was over 1.8 meters long. And whereas her body, as high as 4.5 meters, despite its relatively slim appearance, the territorials are heavy animals, and it weighs about 15 tons. With that size, the adult territorium is too large to be bullied by carnivores, wolf-sized mammal in the same habitat. But the perisaurium bones hinted that a 10-meter-long crocodile biting into this large mammal on the warm Earth. There are animals that depend on their ambient temperature to regulate heat. Their bodies, for example snakes, these animals, able to achieve a larger body size than seconds. Cold weather, lack of mammals, large also provides enough ecological space for Titanboa to breed. Though the reptile may not have been an apex predator, as seen in the features of late-night creatures, Titanboa according to the hypothesis, the paleontologists, the possibility of preying on fish less than 10 million years. Hanneman asteroid wiped out non-avian dinosaurs. After that, the biggest snake of all time, creeping in the humid swamps of Colombia. Paleontologists aptly named this snake Titanoboa cerrejonensis. In the year 2009, this reptile can grow over 12 meters. Length and weight up to 907 kilograms. Titanoboa growing rapidly during a time called the Paleocene. Paleocene is an era in Earth's history when life recovers from a catastrophic asteroid strike. Just like mammals, the more diverse, and some get bigger, so do reptiles. Big Bird has evolved multiple times since the end times. Dinosaurs ranging from Gastornis, grain eaters, 50 million years ago, to the infamous bird of terror, which was an apex predator in South America. But the biggest of all is the elephant bird. Eponymous mass. Eponymous mass is a creature that can't fly, who live in Madagascar. Over 1,000 years ago, several species of elephant birds grow to an incredible size, but Epernus maximus is the biggest of all. Black added more. The bird is almost 3 meters tall and can weigh more than 454 kilograms. The size makes Epernus maximus comparable in size to some non-dinosaur poultry, for example, Utahraptor. Even though it seems Epernus lays eggs, is much bigger. Water eggs. Epernus can weigh more than 9 kilograms, with sufficient internal volume to hold more than 100 chicken eggs. It's unclear why this awesome bird went extinct, but most likely, that stuff comes from a combination of climate change, as well as hunting by humans. Also environmental disturbances that occur when livestock to Madagascar. Although Epernus maximus, currently considered the largest bird all the time, the bird can't fly. The largest flying bird lived a lot earlier, 25 million years ago, in what is now called South Carolina, with a wingspan that stretches 6.4 meters from end to end. Pelagornis sandersi. Beyond the limits, how big birds fly. Equiloplagarnis sandersi. may seem like an albatross, which is really big, but his sharp smile distinguishes the bird. Plagarnus belong to a group of birds that develop beak protrusion, like a nail, that resembled the teeth of a bow saw, that bow saw into a denture, which helps birds catch slippery and squirming prey. Pelagornis sandersi has the proportion of birds and their resemblance to albatrosses. Today's traveler. Therefore, paleontologists suspect that Pelagornis sandersi spent most of his life flying high over the ocean. There is an effect that everything was bigger in the age of the dinosaurs, but some of the greatest marine animals of all time evolved in the tens of millions of years after the asteroid impact. During the late Chalk Age, for example, the largest shark grows up to 7.6 meters (namen) long, about 23 million years ago. A much bigger shark have been evolving. Otis megalodon. Paleontologists debate the maximum size of the Otis megalodon for decades later. Recent estimates put the shark at between 10 and 16 meters long. That size makes it a predator. The greatest ever. Paleontologist starting to understand how this shark grew up to that size. One recent study showed that the larger megalodon Otis embryo will eat their smaller rahim pair. Similar to sharks eating sand nowadays, Otis megalodon has a very fast growth rate. Wide-toothed shark also get bigger over time. One of them because they eat fat whales and mammals. Other seas. In the ancient sea, woolly mammoth is a shaggy elephant, the most famous, but they are not the biggest. Mammoth steppe, known to paleontologists as Mammutus stroganderi. This mammoth is the biggest of all. Mahmoud Steve explored most of Eurasia between 200,000 to 1.8 million years ago, and they grow big. Some of the largest known specimens height about 4.6 meters, much taller than an elephant, the largest African bush, and gigantic. This is certainly relevant with the origins of later mammoth species that spread over the northern hemisphere during an ice age. Recent genetic studies show that woolly mammoths likely evolved from steppe mammoths, then crossbreed between a grizz hairy mammoth. Steppe mammoth offspring produce the origins of what experts sometimes call paleontology. As a Colombian mammoth, the biggest animal of all time right now, swimming in the ocean with a length of about 30 meters and weighs over 200 t. Blue whales are bigger than any known dinosaur, and cetaceans achieved this feat of evolution relatively recently. Blue whale evolved about 1.5 million years ago. They reached sizes that exceed 26 meters at a time when Mahmoud Steve still roam Eurasia. Despite being known as a giant of the sea, whales are just starting to evolve to be a really impressive size. About 3.6 million years ago, right before the great shark Otis megalodon went extinct. Clear black, the greatest whale of all time, still alive today. The fact increases the possibility that whales can get bigger. Over time, evolution size can be limited by everything, starting from food down to how fast the nerves can relay messages from the brain to the body and back again. Yet the largest whales have surpassed anything ever seen before. Every pope, the blue still swimming in the ocean, is a reminder that we're still living in a giant age.